Welcome to the Crypto Day morning, and the date today is Thursday, 12th of July, 2018. My name is Derek. All investing choices within cryptos are always within your own risk, own reward. For myself, risk reward management is always job number one. I want to start this video off not really talking about theta, but talking about calculation of targets, as I want to talk about this little bottom here around the 1927 area, and if it fails from here, where it may go. Bitcoin, look at that, as it has made a very small decline, but very big statement amongst the small decline. And then I want to talk about inflation and how we might get a little bit of an inflationary hit coming soon, and how to avoid it if you can. All right then, so let's get started. This is theta / with Bitcoin. And amongst such, what we can look at is a market from Binance exchange, and this was in an uptrend before this had begun. So it went way up, down to this higher low level, lower high, and now it's pretty much back towards the previous 1800 Satoshi area, or not far from it. If we look at Fibonacci downside, there's a couple that I want to go over. The more recent one, or more shorter term one, has this low in at 22.35 and a high in at 27.37, it looks like. This represents the lower high move from this downtrend. So if I take the largest number, the high, divide it by the lowest number, and then put it to the root of negative, the exponent of negative 0.618, and multiply that number by the low, I'm going to get that of 1927. And this low in here was in at 1901. And they usually pierce extra, so this would be no exception. Did it stop going down from here? Yes, because it rallied up to about 2070. So it had about 150 basis point gain from their 8%. That is really weak, to say the least. And then it has been grinding the 18 average of lows since that one quick rally, back down to its previous key level. Well, if we want to calculate it even further, this was a down move in here that had this lower high. So this lower high was in at 3050. That would be it. And this low in here would be 1808. That gives us a down target of about 1300 Satoshi against Bitcoin. If, of course, this thing starts to break down, maybe we might find some original support back at the 1800 key level. So technically it's a second next target when we look at it from a previous low perspective. And that is the analysis on theta, but I'm just going over technical analysis topics. Moving on to Bitcoin against the US fiat currency, down to 61.81, 3% down. But when we look at the bigger picture amongst this market, we've had the April Fool's rally that topped at around 10,000. It's been going down non-stop. Couple correctionary moves with the start of June going sideways. A really weak correction in the around the solstice. And then as we've entered the start of July, this has been a pretty decent one. Not as large as the April Fool's rally, at least if it's such. It doesn't look as if it's going to succeed such, because after it had its correctionary move down to the 18 lows, yesterday was a pause day. That in itself is a weak symbol when you have the move come down to the 18 lows like this, and then we further that up with the decline amongst such. It does look as if we are leaving the correctionary phase, and as I've mentioned before, when that's the case in a bear market, you're leaving the correctionary phase here, no support, new low. You're leaving the correctionary phase and no support. You're leaving the correctionary phase and so on and so forth. So it's always a not a bullish thing to consider, oh, I think that's going to be good at this time, to say this is cheap prices for Bitcoin. Although, if you're looking to enter into a position, even though to me it's in a bearish situation, I don't think there's anything wrong with putting small amounts in with a game plan to enter more in. At least that would be my game plan, entering into Bitcoin today. So if I had a chance, oh, I can buy whatever about a Bitcoin off someone, and I want to buy this much, however, not yet, well, I'll buy that and then maybe put some into the US dollar tether or the true US dollar, looking to buy back at the cheaper prices. Before we bring this to the more longer term, though, let's just take a look at this on a single hour time frame. So after the big move down, which had this indicator, if you will, I don't know if that's the best word, but it had a typical situation of having this little quick rally that got failed immediately, and then there's a big move long sideways correction from the morning of 2 days ago up until, of course, basically the end of last night. So over 1.5 days of going sideways within this before it's had its down move, and it's just settling, or not selling, and it's just moving in a more sideways this range again, trending a little bit lower, well underextended rather, from the 18 average. So when we look at this long term, and I think I'm going to use a 3-day for this, the situation here is obviously supporting this area twice, and this area, which was support, now looks like it's resisting and leaving that resistance area situation. It's also another way of putting the same analysis is here you had the quick bounce from 6,000. Here you spent more time there, but you had a good rally afterwards, and your intra rally moves or within the congestion area period was more volatile to the, of course, current, where not only does it look like you're resisting this area, but you've been in a congestion period for quite some time, building up energy, as some people like to look at it, as in when this thing is ready to go, it's going to have a decent size move. And I kind of hope if it does, it's not been doing what it's been doing lately, and not do it in a grinding slow mechanism. If it's going to do it, I'd rather just like for example, like you need to go to the dentist and get your wisdom tooth out, or need surgery, just get it out of the way. Let's get it done quick and let's rebuild. That's how I would like to see it, but the market's obviously going to do, if it's going to do it. Obviously, stuff like this is always going to be ideal for me, at least in this case it would be. But I'm in best possible position that I can for the market going up, market going down, or a strategy to always adjust to what the current message of the market is. Finishing off talking about the I don't know if you want to talk about hyperinflation, because it could get worse if Bitcoin goes down to 3,000. But if you've been noticing, the cost of everything is significantly more expensive now when you consider things like your everyday food, 3 times more expensive, in some cases even more. Why 3 times? Well, because Bitcoin was 18,000 plus, and now it's 6,000 plus. So the amount of Bitcoin that it cost you to get food is now much more expensive. The amount of the cost for gasoline, 3 times higher as well. If you want to invest in precious metals like silver, I got 3 kilos for under 0.12. And now if I were to buy 3 kilos, it would probably cost me over 1/3 of a Bitcoin. However, after an extreme run of mega deflationary proportions, which was so magnificent, in the grand scheme of things, when we look back over the last year and change, man, everything is going way down in price. How much did it cost to buy whatever items back when Bitcoin was 550? Of course, using Bitcoin as a measure of trade. And for myself, when you get into the Bitcoin community, it becomes a situation of using Bitcoin in trade is a pretty fun thing to do. So I do feel a little hits of the inflationary, deflationary period. And when you get major deflationary prices, that's when you can do things like pay debts off. You can buy luxury items, is the way I look at it. And in this case, only the bare essentials, if anything at all. And one thing to avoid it is just don't buy things with Bitcoin now. Buy things with the currency. And of course, everyone is in different situations. There's a lot of people who refuse to sell Bitcoins at all costs. And for some people, that's the correct play. But as I looked to play the game, it was very profitable using Bitcoin amongst this high rise here. I have halted purchasing silver, precious physical metals and silver. And I did so as the last run up, probably around here, when it was looking like it was breaking down. Might even been a bit, but I probably would have been around here. And I will not be looking to buy some unless I see this thing start to rally up again. Or maybe it goes down here, I make a few day trades, and hopefully we get a bottom. And even if it's back up to here, I'll look at some of the trades profits that I'll be making. That'll be a good opportune time to do small amounts of liquidations. Of course, I do such because I cannot guarantee cryptocurrencies are going to survive not only the long-term time frame, but the decently somewhat almost long-term, which is like 4 years, 3 years. But I'm very confident that it will, at least for the next several years or so. For 20 years from now, I can only name one real easy asset class that's very easy to use as far as money. And when I say money, I mean being real, being tangible, being at the point that today silver is money, in that you can sell it easily and buy what you need. You cannot sell 5,000 pounds worth of paper towels in pristine condition in its original packaging. It wouldn't be that fun. Gold? Sure. But in 20 years from now, I'm a little concerned gold will have the possibility of being exposed, and there's a lot of it out there, really, in the sense that you don't use it, we keep on mining it and stockpiling it, and that just goes higher and higher. Silver, it does the same thing, but we actually use it. And from my research, it's in low supply, and I don't see really any other competition for what silver does best on the tangible level. Fiat currencies, how do I know they're even going to exist and trade in 20 years? Let alone how much you would lose on the hyperinflationary value. Or, well, over the long term, yeah, 20 years, you can have large inflationary prices then as well. And Bitcoin, Litecoin, I mean, they might be laughable in 20 years. Oh my God, you're still talking about that? But at the same point, I could go 20 years from now and look at one Bitcoin and see that we still got dollars going on and it's trading at 6.5 million. And then even if I think people do laugh about Bitcoin in the 2030s, maybe before it has its horrendous move, it has the quite opposite beforehand, where we do see the 100, heck, even the $1 million prices. And 1 million could be like 2023 or whatever. And then 7 years after that, oh my goodness. So it's always about adjusting to the message of the market. But for any type of very long-term safe plays, to me, the only way to go is with physical silver. And thus, within the game of trading cryptos and seeing prices go up or down as profits come in, it's one way, of course, not only diversifying your own investment, but profit taking when times are looking really good. So therefore, it's limited buying till, of course, Bitcoin prices go up. And when Bitcoin prices go up and you talk about purchasing Bitcoin for items that you are soon to need but not to need yet, to me, I think that's a good idea. And that's a situation where you're buying things you're going to need in a year from now. Or instead of buying 20 of one particular item, or no, instead of buying a month's worth, the next month's worth of a particular item, buy 6 or 8 months worth of it if you can. And then at that point, you are securing yourself the profits. And also, if you're looking to get into precious metals and such, make your bigger purchases when you're in the uprun. So if you see this thing getting to like 80, 60, 70, 80, 100,000 on the upside, that would be places of making significant purchases again. Thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.